Everything in life begins with an idea. You probably heard us say this before. I'll say it again. Everything in life begins with an idea. An idea cannot be killed. An idea cannot be killed. When the idea ripes and becomes mature, it turns into a thought. When the thought ripes and becomes mature, it turns into a word. When the word ripes and matures, it turns into an ideology. You've heard of the word ideology. Ideology comes from the word idea. When the ideology ripes and matures, it turns into a philosophy. When philosophy matures and ripes, it turns into a lifestyle. What made this person kills? It began with an idea. What made this person take drugs? It began with an idea. What made this person make a chair? It began with an idea. Everything was an idea that matured and became eventually that lifestyle. Since the idea cannot be killed, what you can only do about that idea is to replace it with another idea. This is the only way to get rid of that original idea, by replacing it with another idea. This is where St. Paul says it so beautifully in his epistles to the Romans, chapter 12, verse 1 and 2. Brethren, I beseech you to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, acceptable to God, your rational service. Do not be conformed to the world, but rather transformed. So he says, how did you become conformed to the world? Because you allowed the idea of the world to enter your head. And that idea of the world that entered your head led you to become living a worldly lifestyle. When I was a baby, my parents took me to church. When I became an adult, Satan took me to the club. Where did I get this idea of going to the club, not the church? From the world, friends, internet, social media platforms, mixing with people of the world. I allowed their ideas to infiltrate. And when their ideas infiltrated me and I allowed their idea to settle and nestle and give birth to more ideas, eventually I began living what I allowed to be an idea in my head. I started living for the world. St. Paul says, you want to stop going to the club? You want to stop taking drugs? You want to stop gambling? You want to stop drinking? You want to stop? You want to stop? You want to stop? Let the idea of God to come back once again in your head, to get rid of the worldly idea. Let ideas God. And what is ideas God? The Holy Bible. Read the Word of God. Make the Holy Bible your holy friend. Every day. Not sometimes. Every day. I take the idea of God into my head every time I open the Holy Bible. When that idea comes into my head, pushes away the worldly idea. I have now been transformed rather than conformed to the world. But sometimes we don't get transformed the easy way until we end up in the pig's field. When we cop it badly, when we lose it badly, when we are broken badly, then we wake up. I say, I need to go back to my Father. And I say, Father, please forgive me. I have sinned against you in heaven. I'm not worthy to be your son anymore, but make me one of those hired people in your mansion. Just having that thought, the Father came running. embraced you. He said, put on, he said to his servants. Who are the servants of God the Father? The angels. The angels. They are the servants, the angels. He said to the angels, put a new garment on him. That white garment, dress him up with my beloved Son. My beloved Son is that white garment, the garment of righteousness. Put on the glorified body, which my Son rose with on the third day. Dress him up with my Son, because my Son is without a blemish. My Son is without a stain. My Son is perfect like me. My Son is the only one that can get you to me, because there is no one perfect like the Father except the Son. So put on the Son, Jesus Christ. Dress this sinner with my beloved Son.